How we doing, everybody? This is Let's Be Real, Brad, and today I'm be talking about the massive success of a big movie that came out in 2017, It Chapter 1. It Chapter 1 was directed by Andy Muschietti and was a huge hit when it came out, breaking box office records, being a massive success, and everyone seems to just love this movie. As someone who's watching this who has not seen the first It, you may think it was just this big cultural phenomenon, but was this movie actually really good, or was it just for the hype? And that's what we're going to get into today. Personally, I think this movie is still great. I've seen this movie about 3 times, and as I went to go see this movie at the drive-in this past weekend, I gotta say, it's going to be a movie that's going to age so well because it works so perfectly. Why I think this movie is so great is we're going to start off with the kids. The kids are what make this first It so incredible. They are so likable. They're so charming. They're so funny. And there's something about them that feels so innocent and pure and genuine. And that's probably due to the pitch perfect casting in this movie. And they just feel like they're actual kids having fun in their summer. These kids genuinely feel like actual middle school kids. And that's probably due to them getting great actors, but also because of their age. Normally in movies, you're going to see that many studios will get older kids to play younger kids just because they look younger. But in actuality, they got the kids that actually are the ages of 13, just like in the book. And so that's why it always feels believable, and it's always much more fun because they have this energy with them every time they're on screen. They carry this whole movie, and without some of their great performances, this movie wouldn't have the energy, the excitement, and the thrills that it gives. One of the best aspects of this movie is Bill Skarsgård's performance as Pennywise. Pennywise is absolutely frightening. After giving a more updated boot of Tim Curry's great performance as Pennywise back in the miniseries, this version of Pennywise is just so creepy, and the performance and the voice and the mannerisms are so fantastic, and a lot of it is due to Bill Skarsgård's improvisation while doing some of these scenes, and just figured, hey, let's just try it. And honestly, a lot of those improvisations were so good, and they still bother me to this day, where Pennywise will kind of just look away and he'll just start drooling, and that is probably the most terrifying thing that he does. Pennywise is such a force on screen. Every time he's on screen is really, really scary. And I'm not talking like absolutely terrifying that gets on your skin, but really has an impact on the movie. Sure, if you've seen this movie a couple times, the scares are obviously going to go down. But when this is your first time watching it, it definitely has a little bit of effect. Like, he definitely is a massive part of this movie and the success of it. I also love the writing in this movie. I think all the dialogue is super crisp, feels so genuine, and it really captures that 1980s mood. It's extremely funny and it's appropriately used. There's some really great lines that really give you that crowd-pleasing moment. There's so many great parts of this movie that it just flows along so well, adapting from Stephen King's great novel. Cinematography is excellent as well. I thought it was such a great choice to have this more older, lightish tint to it that I really enjoy, that it really makes the movie feel more immersed into this older 80s setting. And something about the 80s and horror always has this nice feel to it, almost like this old Halloween vibe to it that I always just kind of a sucker for, and I know that a lot of people are. The music composed by Benjamin Wallfisch is really, really great in this movie. It seems to fit and be so appropriate for this film that I really think add to so many great and memorable scenes. The directing and editing are really top-notch in this movie. The editing is really, really great. All the shots work so perfectly well. It feels so seamless, especially in the action scenes that are really, really great. I love so many of the shots in this movie. I mean, you take the opening scene in this film, that is shot so perfectly, and there's so many ways I could just break down the opening scene of why those shots are perfectly placed in the movie, having Pennywise down in the sewer like that and have it looking up from Pennywise's direction, looking up at Georgie, it's just pure perfection. I do have a couple negatives with this movie, and that's going to be really due to, there's parts of it that are not very scary. I mean, this movie is just a load of fun, and a lot of it is just about the kids and more about them facing their own inner fears. And I think a movie does such a good job of conveying that, especially with Beverly Marsh's story. That is definitely the most terrifying of the whole movie. Way more scary than Pennywise himself. Itself, I should say. It's just a common complaint that a lot of people have with this movie, is that it's just not very scary. And, you know, that's just what's going to happen. I mean, people are kind of scared of different things. There's probably people that are terrified of this movie because they are scared of clowns. But some people aren't scared of clowns, or they're not scared of anything that is kind of demonic like that. So that's not going to be personally scary for them. Another big complaint that I have is that Ben, Richie, Stan, and Mike, they don't really have arcs in this movie. Whereas I feel as though everybody else has their own arcs throughout the movie. And they're just kind of sidelined. I mean, Mike, he has really nothing in this movie. They all have really cool backstories that they really do get fleshed out in It Chapter 2. And that's why it bogs the movie down, but it makes the movie really good all in one in that film. But in this movie, they're just kind of sidelined. They're just kind of there. They have an interesting backstory, and they don't really go through anything. They don't have like their own goal in the movie. They're just kind of there with the crew, and I just wish that they kind of got their own screen time, even though that would have made the movie longer, or maybe cut some of the characters out, or I don't know how you would be able to do that, but I think there needs to be a little bit better way of not having 4 of your characters that have interesting backstories and to not really do much with them. Overall, I really, really enjoyed this first It movie because it just is so much fun, especially to watch during the Halloween season. Everyone seems to really love this movie, and it's just really understanding why. It's very simple, it's effective, it has really great characters you root for, the writing is really good, and it just feels like a well-made, well-crafted, and great fun horror film that when we look back on this movie from decades now, people are going to say this is one of like the most fun and really good horror films that came out during the 2010s that still needs to be talked about to this day. So glad I rewatched this movie, and I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. Let me know, have you guys seen it? Do you guys like it? Do you guys hate it? Or what did you guys think of It Chapter 2? Let me know down below. And as always, please like and share the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It means the world to me. You guys are liking my videos. Subscribe to my channel. You guys are the best. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.